you have any announcements?
Yeah, sorry, I have a fussy child, so she'll probably cry. So a few announcements is that we did book the house for team retreat. So I believe that's the April 11th through 13th weekend, or maybe it's the weekend after. I don't know. I'd have to look at the graphic. I don't remember anything. And so team retreat is that weekend. And then I know there's still, I mean, Angie's been doing stuff with Summit. And so we have the Summit house. If you're still thinking about going to Summit, there's definitely room in the house. I think Angie said it's like $250 to be in the house for the weekend, whatever that's in San Antonio, which if I could go, like I'm still thinking about being crazy. And if she's a really good baby, like the week before, buying a plane ticket and just going, because I'm really sad that I won't be there right now. But and then the next body block. So at the beginning of the month, the new body block is T25. So if you sell a total solution pack, they will get that one for free and then they get to pick one. So obviously, since we've only had like the only other paid super block is 21 Day Fix, that's the only one that pops up for them to buy. But now we'll get down the road here in a few months and they'll be able to pick which body block or super block they want. Also, I didn't realize this, but the beginners only, they're doing kind of like the strong body block or the bike body block or the iron body block. They're going to have a for beginners only body block every single month. So it'll comprise of like workouts that like obviously the Lacey Green ones will be there, but they're doing ones with other, like I saw someone the other day did one with Megan Davies. So they're going to actually be having for beginners only every single month. So that's kind of really nice because I've had a ton of people who want that because they are coming from a time in their life where they haven't worked out for a long time and it's good for them to get back in that way. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The promo is still going on for if you sell 10 total solution packs, if you're one of the first 2,000 partners to sell 10 total solution packs, you get a $500 bonus, which is incredible. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Then how I'm going to do that legacy, you might have seen the legacy leaderboard come out. How I'm going to do that moving forward is anytime you surpass one of those, like you get to a new level, you'll want to fill that form out. And then your coach and I can recognize you when you hit that. So I'll do a leaderboard each month, kind of like I did, but then I'll also will be recognizing people as they hit those new legacies. So they start at $100. So once you make your first $100, you should go and you should fill that out because it's just a good way to recognize you for what you're doing and is different than the rank system and stuff like that. So just something fun there. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. May 6th is the Sioux Falls Super Weekend. I know there's a ton of people already planning to go to that. So, and I would look my Ohio gals, I'd look, it sounds like people are just kind of like doing their own thing because I know my friend Steph, who's in Canada, they had one with like Amwala Caesar this weekend. So I don't know if Beachbody is just going to be like being like, okay, market councils, like you pick your own weekends to do super weekends on because they did one this weekend and had a super trainer there and Julie Voris there. And then like the Sioux Falls one has Jared Score, which I love. I did the sleigh rides with him and he was fantastic. He's great if you haven't done a cycle with him. And so like he's going to be at ours, which is just wild in Sioux Falls, and that's May 6th. I'd really make an attempt to be there if you live anywhere near the area. Where you find, Amanda, good question. Where you find your lifetime income is if you go to your main coach office page, and on the side, like right in the center of the page where there's like volume, all that kind of stuff, right on the side, there's an income. If you click earnings or whatever is right on that main page, earnings and income, right up at the top, it'll say year to date and then it'll say lifetime. So I can drop a picture of what that looks like too in the whatchamacallit, the page. I'll comment it on that post and tag you so you can kind of see where to find that. But that's what I've got. I'm going to let Sarah talk because Sarah has a lot. Oh yeah, they're calling, Sarah G said something. They're calling Sioux Falls a spring social. Yeah, so because they're not super weekends. But they will, yeah, spring social. So But yeah, Ontario had a huge one with like and stuff. So, but that's what I've got for announcements. Just keep an eye on the team page, stuff like that for stuff. Yeah, Mackenzie said, yeah, you have to use a desktop to find it because it's not on the phones. Hi. Okay. So take it away, Sarah.
Alrighty, cool. Thanks for all the awesome announcements. So moving forward here, I want to talk to you guys. I know this time of year is crazy busy with so many things. Like literally just everyone has so many different things. If you're a farm wife, you're getting in a planting season. If you are an ag teacher, you are kind of rolling into those state testing times. If you are a mom, it is just everyone wants to be outside. It's just crazy time of year for so many people. And so, with that being said, I know that intentionally setting our time each day and each week can really, really, really help us out. So that's what I want to talk about tonight, and then also give you guys some tips about posting. So my first kind of scenario here for you guys. So each morning, this is my blender mug that I have that I use with my Ninja blender each morning. And when I am rinsing this, I want you guys to imagine this with me. When I am blending it and then I go to rinse it underneath the water, it's really easy for me to like shake it back and forth and try to get it as clean as possible. But it really doesn't work very well. If I just hold each blade for like 3 seconds underneath the water as it's coming out, I see a lot better results when I actually focus on each blade for just a couple seconds to actually get it clean. And that's kind of what I want you guys to envision time blocking as, intentionally focusing on exactly what it is that you want to get done in that very moment and not focusing on anything at all, anything else for whatever that time is that you're setting. So moving forward, I'll see if I can move these to the best. Okay, there we go. Yes, that works. So first, when we start setting up our week, when we start thinking about how we want to lay out our time that we have ahead, we want to first think about what are the things you have to get done. And so if you don't have a piece of paper or a notebook, or even if you're a hard copy planner type of person still, I want you guys to go and grab that right now. Because at the end of this, we're going to actually take action and come up with what are the things that we have going on this week and how can we best use our time ahead, because it's so busy. And so I want to take action tonight together. So first, when we think ahead with our time, we want to think of what are the things that you must get done. So these can be obviously your job. Okay, so I know tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., I'm going to have to leave and go to school. I know that Tuesday night, I have a Farm Bureau meeting. I know that Wednesday, I already have a chat scheduled with somebody else. So what are the things that first you have to do? Those are the things that are already scheduled in there. Next thing I want you to think about is what are the things that need to get done? So for this business, for instance, you want to make a solid hour of time where you can do your tracker. Now, this does not have to be a consecutive hour, though. We will talk about this in just a minute, but think about what are the different things that need to get done. These are things that if they don't get done, it may or may be okay, such as cleaning, for instance. I know each week, if I don't put in a load of laundry for my husband's work clothes, the next week they're just going to keep on piling up, etc., such as loading up the dishwasher. If we don't load up the dishwasher, if I don't do the dishes, I know that's going to be waiting there for me. So it's things not as important as your job, your work, your appointments that you might have scheduled, but it's definitely things that still need to be done. And then lastly, what are the things that you are hoping to go do? Is it making a big, fancy, extravagant dinner? Is it baking cookies? Is it going out to dinner? Is it finishing that last episode of Outer Banks, which was me the last several weeks? Okay, so what are those things that you're wishfully thinking about and then the things that you want to get done? So those are the 3 things when we start time blocking at the end, we're going to want to do. So here's a quick couple of tips when we get to starting. First and foremost, think about what is the amount of time that is actually going to be done with this. I love it because in our Beachbody tracker, actually in our system, they even give you the recommended timing for these different things. And so right here, it says 20 minutes. So you can go up here and change this little timer and actually set a timer for 20 minutes. And within that whole entire 20 minutes, you want to do nothing but what that task is that you are on. And so my first big tip is set a timer and actually hold yourself to that timer. Uh-oh. Totally navigating this as we go. So that's my first tip, is set the timer and hold yourself to that timer. Next is do the actions that align with your goals first. This is kind of common sense. If it's something that doesn't actually align with anything you're trying to do, then why are you doing it? If I can figure out where to put this. There we go. So for instance, if baking those cookies at the end of the week is for, say, on Friday, you have a school carry-in coming up and you signed up to do cookies, then yes, that's something that you need to do. But if it's just because you need to do those, just because you've been craving cookies, then maybe that's not something that aligns with our goals. But for instance, you are all here for the reason that you decided you wanted to coach. You wanted to inspire other ladies. You wanted to hold yourself accountable in your health and fitness goals. And so, for instance, one of our goals should be to get our trackers done every single day or as many times as we can throughout the week. So, do the actions that actually align with your goals. Then, in one of my first years of teaching, actually, it was before I even did student teaching. I had a teacher, a peer, who told me that she sets a timer majority of the days at the week, and she leaves work at that time. By the time 4:30 comes around, she is out of there. If you're lucky enough to have a job that you actually get to leave it, I highly recommend setting that standard every single day that you leave your job. You leave it no matter what is done, because you always know that tomorrow you can go back and you can keep working on it. Then my last tip here is, are your actions extending your workday, or are they actually making them more productive? So for instance, me gossiping with my co-teacher at work, is it actually helping me be productive? Are we working on banquet prep? Are we working on our current fundraiser? Are we doing different actions that are actually going to help us in our job? Or is it just stuff that is extending our day and making it just go on longer just for the fun of it? Now, don't get me wrong. It's fun. You got to get to know your coworkers. You got to make your job fun at the same time. But just keep on asking yourself and keep that in the back of your mind of like, are these different things making my day more productive, or are they just extending my day? Another really good example of this. So during my lunch each day, I will often do some of the more easier things on the tracker in my eyes. So for instance, going through and adding new followers. I'll do that during my lunch break. Well, then if I were to really sit down and say, okay, during these 30 minutes, I'm going to eat and I'm going to add new followers. If I'm also scrolling through this and checking different apps and maybe coming up with my post or maybe doing this or maybe doing that, am I really blocking that time for following? No, I'm actually just delaying the process. I'm not actually being intentional. I'm kind of a little bit of all over the place. But if I say during those 30 minutes during my lunch, I am doing XYZ, then I know that that is what I'm doing. So that is what we're going to focus on moving forward here at the end. I'm going to come back to this posting tips because I want us to kind of take some action at this point. So right now I want you guys to lay out your week, Monday through Friday, on a piece of paper or on a calendar. And at this time, we'll take, let's say, the next 3 minutes to lay out what are the things that you have to get done this week. What are the appointments you already have? When does your workday start? What are some different things? Actually, we'll just take 2 minutes to be able to do that. Okay, so at this time, write out all the things you have to do already that you know of this week. Go. All right. So at hopefully within that time, you were able to at least begin laying out what you need to get done for the week. So next, what I want you guys to do is so that was the things that we had to get done this week. So now I want you to go through and list out the different things, and this can be on like the side of the page, or you can go ahead and plug these into the different days that you might have coming up. But I want you to go ahead and write out the different things that are in this need category. So, what are the things that maybe you need to do your meal planning still? Maybe you need to do so many posts. Maybe you need to try out a new sample workout of the new T25 Super Block coming out. What are the things that you need to do this week? But they're not detrimental to like make or break your week. Okay. So take about, we'll do 5 minutes of this one of what are the needs for your week and just list them. And then you can begin kind of plugging them into where you think they might go in. Any questions yet at this point? All right. I will set another timer here for 5 minutes. Go. So as we continue going on with this, if you are going strong and you are getting in a rhythm and you are finding where you're at, that's perfect. If you're kind of struggling, if you're kind of at a dead end and you're like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So I want you kind of searching for pockets of times throughout your day of when can you intentionally get our trackers done. And so for instance, I know that tomorrow and Tuesday, I have busy days in the afternoon. So I'm trying to look at in the mornings, if I make sure that I am up and at it at my 5 a.m., then I can get on my bike. I can do my posts as I'm sitting there pedaling, and I can do my journal and I can do these different things so that later in the day I'm free. So right now we're looking at pockets of time. So we'll just do 1 more minute of doing those things, and then I have just a couple more tips. All right, go ahead and stop right there. So hopefully, if nothing else, maybe your Monday and Tuesday, we have started out our week strong. If nothing else, this gave you the state of mind of, if I get A done in the morning, then I know that B, C, and D can get done later in the day. So for instance, like I was just saying, I know that if I get up right at my alarm, and I start getting my post done earlier in the morning, if I'm updating my stories earlier in the morning, then I know that later in the day, I will already have those things done and not have to do them later in the day. And so that's where a couple of these other ideas kind of come from. So go back to present mode here. So first, like I said, set up each day of the week. So a lot of times it's hard to be able to think about making every single day the same throughout the week. Because each day is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes we might have meetings after work. Sometimes we might have this dinner or that date night coming up on that Friday night. And so make sure you are adjusting your days accordingly to whatever it might be that you have coming up. Then look at all the different pockets in your time. So like I was saying, and like Brianna said in the chat, is the lunch that you are going to, is it being beneficial to your goals? Like I said earlier at this. Then establish time for these following things. So when are you going to post? If you're not posting until noon or later in the day, then understand that you're not going to have anything to invite to, because those posts are only going to have been up since noon during that day. Whereas if in the morning we are putting as many things out there for people to be able to watch, then by the afternoon, that evening, you're going to have a lot more things for people to look at, to have seen, and then you're going to have those views to be able to invite those people to later in the day. When are you going to be doing your connecting? If we're connecting earlier in the day also, then by later in the afternoon, you can send invites, you can send them welcome messages, you can reach out to them, connect with them on whatever it was that made you instantly think, I should be friends with that person. And then you're inviting. That takes probably the most brain work for majority of us. I know it does for me. And so make sure you're not putting this off until right before bed, because oftentimes a tired mind is not going to have the best eyes to be able to send those invites. So make sure you are intentionally figuring out when you want to send your invites. And then one thing that I absolutely love doing right before bed is praising the team members, reaching out to challengers, asking them how they're doing, sending that message of just, hey, thinking of you, can't wait to hear more about your goals, because then that just ends your day on such a positive note. So then that goes into, last but not least, our posting naturally. And so that is the thing I want to go back here to, is some tips and tricks here for posting. And so I know that as a new coach, this was something that was really, really hard for me to even like fathom, because I really never posted anything unless I went to a big conference, anything like that. And so here are kind of some of my tips for how to post, what to post about. And now going on posting, it's one of those things that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have so much to say. And that's because I really leaned into this journey. And so one of the first things that I really look at is, what was something that I got out of my workout? So right now I'm doing the 21-day fix super block, and so many of the different things that they're saying just really, really speaks the truth. And so I'm thinking, how can I take what they are saying and put it into my own life? And how can I put it into those that are following along into their life as well? And then what challenges might you have overcome? So a couple weeks ago, I had our FFA banquet, and for me, that was a challenging state of mind. Or being a little over halfway through this pregnancy, there's a lot of mental state of mind that I'm going through challenges, and it's kind of coming up with those challenges. How am I getting over those? How are my workouts? How's this routine helping me get over those workouts? And so think to yourself, what are some challenges that you're currently going through, and how can you overcome that? Then how is it that being a part of this community, how is this helping you feel stronger? How is it helping you feel more inspired? How is it helping you feel more energetic? How is this community helping you? And then last but not least, one of my biggest tips and tricks is keep a big ongoing draft of different post ideas in your phone. Because like I said, earlier in the week, I'll hear all these different amazing things on a Monday morning in our workout, and it will inspire me for a whole bunch of different posts. And I know that if I create those posts earlier and save them as a draft, I don't always recommend saving them as a draft in the actual app, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, whatever, because oftentimes on my end, at least, I have an Android. A lot of those drafts, I can't like edit them later, but I like to save them. A lot of times I'll send them to my husband in a text and I'll just say, hey, don't use this right now, just disregard this. But then that way I know that I have it in a draft somewhere, or I'll use like the notes on my phone as well. And then last but not least, one of the biggest things that held me back from posting was just taking pictures all the time. And still right now, that's really, really tough. But what I try to do is I use a phone, or I use a cup to hold my phone, and I'll put it on a timer. I'll put it on the video mode at school or in the parking lot or when I get home or wherever I feel like I'm in a scene that gives me confidence, gives me good lighting, and I'll take pictures, all sorts of kinds of pictures. Just stand in front of it, figure out what pictures make you feel most confident. It doesn't have to be your workout pictures. It can be literally any picture that you feel good in. Use that picture with whatever the caption is that you feel will speak to the people you are wanting to speak to. So again, going back to the time blocking, putting our posting in there together as well. I want you to try and think lastly on what are different pockets of time that you might have coming up, whether it's at work, whether it's when you get home from work, and then use this as a drive to help influence you moving forward on if I get up at this time and I hold myself accountable to these routines, then I know that later in the day I will get XYZ done so that I can feel accomplished by the time my head hits the pillow at night. Questions on time blocking or posting? Let me look at the chat here. Yes, please don't sacrifice those things. Again, you just want to look at are the things you're doing really adding up to your goals? Is it making you feel more productive? Is going and having lunch? Sometimes you need to complain to your closest coworkers at that lunch table. Go get that steam out. But other times, think to yourself, is this really being productive for my time ahead? And then keep notes in your phone of quotes. Yes, all the time from PD. That is really helpful as well. Any other questions, comments, suggestions about time blocking? Anyone else? All right. That is what I have for you guys. How
Awesome.
do I go back?
Thank you, Sarah. Natalie is feeding, so I'm not going to put my video on, but I know this was the first time I broke out my planner, probably since like January, since that seems to always be the time when I like quit using my paper planner. So for once, I actually went through and did my like walked through scheduling and figuring out my to-dos. So hopefully you guys broke out your planners, or if you use your phone to-dos, or wherever you put your to-dos, hopefully you kind of spend some time doing that. Even just with normal life things that, like, there were things I was supposed to do on Friday that I completely forgot about because I didn't have them written down anywhere. So um, I asked her to combine that time blocking and some posting, because I know we have a lot of new people to the team. And I think posting is the number one thing that scares people. And you don't need to be scared about it. We all sucked at posting when we started and felt like what we didn't have anything valuable to say. And I just say most of us, a lot of our posting comes from our PD, comes from quotes that we heard during the workout, comes from something we heard on a podcast. And then we essentially just put our own thoughts and spin on it. And so don't think that you have to, like, if you read one of our posts and you're like, I don't know how she comes up with this stuff, we probably stole it from something else we heard. So that's where 99% of it comes from. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. Thank you everyone for hopping on. It's fun to see so many people and faces on the call. And I hope you guys have a really good week. Watch the team page for some awesome stuff coming up and reminders and stuff like that. But I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday night and you can go rock the week. So see you all later.